Yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, my featured guest every week, my main man, my main squeeze, the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, how is it going today?
We're gonna knock this pod out. This is good stuff. I'm so excited to be here. It's a manly show today. This is just full testosterone, full power, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Jason.
Hey, man, no problem. Well, Chris, today, do we have an episode for the people? I'm really excited to get into this episode, where it came from, and how it's going to change AdWords managers and business owners' lives out there. But we got a couple things to get through first. We're going to talk about today's sponsor. You're going to do that, Chris, and then we've got a great question that'll help clarify something that goes through a lot of advertisers' brains.
Yes, so I want to thank Opteo. I just want to thank Opteo for just being Opteo and helping me with my AdWords management. Just the other day, I got an email that said, hey, this client of yours is currently on trend to spend below their spend level for the month. And it showed me this beautiful graph of what my trend level should be for spend, and then another line up underneath it that was representing the actual spend. And so I went in and I was able to make some adjustments on my daily budget, on my bids, because I realized I had a whole lot more potential on what I could do and get them a higher search impression share. All of that because of Opteo's email that they sent me. And that is a wonderful feature that they offer as part of their regular package that you can get access to and try for 6 weeks. If you would like to try this amazing tool that both Jason and I use on a regular basis, go to opteo.com. That's opteo.com/PSP. Now, here's the confusing part. Sometimes people don't see it, but there's a chat box over on the right-hand side. Tell them, hey, I'm from the Paid Search Podcast. I'd like to get an extended 6-week trial. And they'll say, hey, we'll hook you up. We know Chris and Jason. We're right with you. And here you go. Boom. And that's it. That's it. So take advantage of it. Go check them out. We want to thank them for their sponsorship and keeping this show alive.
Chris, thank you for that. Did you know, I'm going to read this week's iTunes review of the week. Did you know that there are other countries besides the United States in the world?
What? No.
All right, don't make fun of me. No, obviously we know there are other countries, but it's not just a history lesson. Like, yes, I knew other countries existed, like Australia, Germany, Atlantis. Like, I thought all this stuff was in the past, and I thought we were the only ones here. But they're still out there, Chris, these other countries. Yeah, and I did not realize that they had their own iTunes companies out there.
Oops.
Like, there's iTunes UK, iTunes Australia, and I was missing all these reviews. So in our current store in the US, iTunes, we have over 174 reviews or something like that. We've been reading those. We'll get back to those. But this one, I found a website that shows me all the reviews from around the world. And let's read one from South Africa today.
Awesome.
5 stars from Africa. Hi, guys. My name is Mike.
South Africa.
And I live in Cape Town. Hi, guys. My name is Mike, and I live in Cape Town, South Africa. I walk my dogs every evening while listening to your podcast. You guys help with both my brain and muscle matter.
Wow.
Love your show. Easy to digest and full of great information. Thank you both for making it as entertaining as it is informative. He said both there, Chris.
Yeah.
That's a nice guy. That's a nice guy. All the best from Mike. Mike, bro, thank you for that review from South Africa. So everyone around the world that's been leaving iTunes reviews on their own country's iTunes, we'll be getting those as well, and those help us as well. So thanks for leaving that review.
Yeah. That's, I have a neighbor, one of my best friends speaks Afrikaans, and he's from South Africa. And every now and then he'll break out into this like Afrikaans language, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, I feel like I have a connection, Mike. And pet your dog for me.
All right, Chris. Well, this is an international show. You know what I'm saying, Chris? This is big business all around the world. Today's question comes from Mexico, where my girlfriend comes from also.
Wow.
Yo como manzanas en la cocina en miércoles solo. I eat apples in the kitchen only on Wednesdays. Learning that Spanish, Chris.
Wow. That's
Okay,
so
so
good.
Chris, we're going to play the question from Mexico right now.
Hi guys, this is Humberto from Mexico. You're awesome. I can leave a review because I listen on Google Podcasts, and those are not enabled here in Mexico. So my question is the following. Let's say I have a phrase match keyword surveillance system, and according to my search terms, I see that people are looking for buy surveillance system, acquire surveillance system, buy surveillance system in my city, etc. Is it better to just leave surveillance system as phrase match, or to add those searches as phrase match, including a buy surveillance system as one, acquire as another one? Does it affect my ranking? That's the question. I hope you can understand me. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, Humberto, for that question. First of all, Chris, I'm going to let you take a swing at this, and then I'll follow up. But before I throw it to you, let's just give ourselves a silent round of applause here. And listeners, wherever you are, please clap, including if you're in the bathroom.
Clap for us.
give yourself a clap right now in the bathroom.
Okay, we're gonna listen. Everyone, clap. Ready? Oh, that's nice. That was good.
No, seriously, Chris, this guy Humberto, he's down in Mexico. Like, we would have never crossed paths if it wasn't for this podcast. And that was an educated advertiser. And I think quite a bit because of the show. He was talking about checking the search terms.
Yep.
He was talking about geo searches. He was wondering if it's, I mean, Chris, the way he asked this question,
he's obviously
that's not the kind of questions you get from people that haven't listened to the show. Like,
right.
I'm proud of what we're doing here. That's great, dude.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I'm a little guy from a small town in Texas, and I hear from people in Mexico, and then we heard from someone in South Africa. It's just like, wow, it's a big world out there. Thanks. So, sorry, we're just really excited. We both did caffeine shots before we started. So the answer to your question, Humberto, is yes, it is an advantage to add particularly valuable searches in addition to your phrase match. And I'm going to say for one reason that Jason can add on to this, but for one reason is that you can better target your ad copy. So if it's a local term, then you can add that local term to your ad copy. So you have a new ad group just for that local term. If there's people that are searching for a surveillance system for a company or a business, now you can include a business surveillance system instead of residential or home. So the customization of the ad copy is what makes it really valuable for me, because I'm going to get a better response from people that see a reflection on what they're searching. And that's my main reason in dissecting each of those categories and having separate ad groups for each. Jason?
Yeah, so Humberto, if you're spending, I don't know, 19,348 pesos a month, or as we call it in the US, $1,000 a month.
There you go.
You only have you have a fixed budget. So phrase match surveillance systems, maybe that does a good conversion rate, but possibly different keywords that you're controlling more, like buy surveillance systems near me, surveillance systems Guadalajara, if you happen to be in Guadalajara, those might convert better, and you can control the situation when you're actually targeting those terms, not just letting them show up along with whatever else surveillance systems on its own phrase match brings in. So when you start seeing the search terms that keyword brings in, start adding them as their own keywords. Maybe if it makes sense where they can have their own ad copy, like Chris said, business surveillance systems. If you see that search term come in, create a business ad group and then have the ads talk about business surveillance systems. Throw that keyword in that one. If you have a Guadalajara ad group or whatever your city is, throw the Guadalajara surveillance system keywords in the Guadalajara ad group and make sure the ad focuses that you're in Guadalajara. You don't have to do that with every search term that comes in. Some of them are just going to be one-offs that don't get searched more. But the more you control, generally, the better. So use the big phrase match surveillance system to get data, find search terms to target, find out how people are searching for these terms. And then if they require it based on needed ad copy, if they need their own ad copy, put them in their own ad group, or just put them in the current ad group, and at least you control the bids on those more valuable search terms, those more valuable keywords. So it's all about control. That's the reason you would add them as individual keywords. Control the bid on them, and then control what ads show up with them. Now, Chris.
Okay.
We had a great question there because it ties into what we're talking about today.
Yes.
Which is keyword research, the keyword planner. Now, basically, I want to tell people about how this episode came together. I'm sitting there handling some business stuff earlier this week, like stuff you want to know about, Chris, some real business stuff, okay?
Big boy stuff,
and I get this little chat on Skype, and I don't even know why I let these people access me, but I see this dumb picture with your face, and it's like Chris Schaefer, and he's like, dude, they listen to us, dude. It's amazing.
All caps.
The keyword planner is so great now. I think literally you said, drop what you're doing. Okay, I'm meeting with lawyers, accountants, business people, Chris, dealing multi-million-dollar deals.
Oh, sure.
And you tell me drop what I'm doing for the keyword planner. So I just listened to him because he's my podcast partner, and I go in the keyword planner, and it looks exactly the same. And I type back, I'm like, okay, looks good. And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? You don't even care? You don't get it. And I'm like, okay, they made it a little better. What's the big deal? And he's like, I really want to do this on the show. And I was like, all right, I'll throw you a bone. We'll talk about it this week. Then, Chris, I handle my multi-million-dollar business deal. Next day, I get into the keyword planner. And yes, it does look similar to how it's been looking. So you got to dig in a little bit. But dude, there are some gems. It's amazing what they've done. And I'm like, Chris, we got to talk about this on the show. We got to share this with the people. And that's what we're going to do today. So that's a genesis of this episode. Genuinely, Chris. Genuine. Great song.
Artist.
Chris.
It's not a song.
You would know about that because Chris was in the 90s with this red Solo cup at the house party. You want it. Own it. Ride it.
You can't say
That's Chris in 1997. All right. So with this, all right. So Chris, genuinely, I was playing around with you a little bit before the show. No, genuinely, dude, you were right. This is a big deal. This is a game changer. I am going to be using the keyword planner a lot now going forward. It's everything we wanted. Let's get into it. Tell the people what happened.
Yeah. So way back when, I mean, we're talking like, what was it, 2017, 2018, I guess, last year. I don't remember when we were making our pleas, but we did a special call out. We had a special video on YouTube. And we were trying to get our message across to Google.
We ran ads on that video. we ran that video as advertisement.
We even paid
to get the views up.
Our own advertisement money to try and get artificially boost the views so we can get a little more credibility. We wanted to communicate, please bring back the old keyword button, the big red button that showed the categorized, grouped keywords. And guys, throw the confetti because we did it. They listened. I'm certain that they finally saw that video.
Do you honestly believe this, Chris? You are such an egotist. Do you honestly believe this company that makes billions of dollars? Yeah, I'll take that point. That's a valid point. That just shows what I think of you in this situation. I understand where I'm coming from.
No.
And the pot is calling the kettle really black right now.
Okay,
like, Chris, your ego is out of control. Do you really think it was us?
I'm going to say it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say it was us. Okay. Until I get a call from Google.
If you think it, I'll take it.
Until I get disproved, which if I get disproved, that then proves that they listen to the show. So Google, give me a call. You have my email. I mean, you have everything. You have my password. You have all that stuff. So I know you can get in touch with me. You probably show up at my door. And I think we did it. I think they listened. Okay. They gave us what we wanted. So here's what we have. We have a keyword tool that provides us categorized and grouped topics instead of just a vomit of keywords. And I have to give a shout out to Mike because I was talking to Mike and Mike knows who he is. And he pointed this out to me like day of the launch or before I noticed it. I hadn't seen the notification yet. And he pointed it out and I went and checked it out. And that's when I freaked out and started messaging Jason. So what the value is, and you're thinking, well, why is this such a big deal? This isn't even in AdWords. You're right. It's the keyword planner. And here's what you can do. So I'm going to break it into two big ways that you can use this tool. Number one is keyword research. Okay. And you can now get data on individual keywords or groups of keywords. So what you can do is you can take, let's say 5, 6, 7 different key phrases. Okay, so in the example that I had done myself, I was pretending like I was a catering company and I was doing some catering keyword searches. I put in catering, lunch catering, Dallas catering, deli catering, wedding catering services. I put a bunch of keywords in. These are, some really specific ones like Dallas, Texas business lunch catering. And then I put some other ones in and I just put them into the keyword planner. And what I got is the same as Jason saw before. I got a giant vomit of keywords that was organized by which one got the most search volume. Useless. Don't care. I mean, if I'm building a successful campaign, I'm not going to go with what gets the most volume because I need to get with what is most relevant to my client or my business. So that doesn't really matter. But here's the thing. You can then click on another tab that shows you grouped ideas. And now you can get further information about each of the topics that are surrounding this group of keywords or single keyword that you've created. So for example, I put this series of keywords in and I got 1,500 keywords. I mean, what in the heck am I going to, let's say this is a $500 budget a month. I'm not going to build a campaign with 1,500 keywords. And then they're sorted into 132 different categories. Obviously, I'm not going to have 132 different ad groups for a campaign that's for catering that's spending $500 a month. It's just overkill, okay? The value is that I can go through this and find examples to use and build my campaign on. So just quickly looking through this list that I have on my screen, I can see that catering delivery is often searched. That's something that's really popular. Small catering, people looking for a small luncheon or a small type of catering event is important. Home catering, I never even considered people that can cater to a party or something at home, like a birthday party, and they actually include the word home catering. Christmas catering, salad catering, healthy catering. Something I hadn't considered before is catering by food type, like Mexican, Italian, Indian. The value here is not that I have a bunch of 1,500 keywords. The value is that I'm able to see and find entirely new topics that I can build keywords around. And these keywords should have some, I'm looking for something that has some moderate volume to it. I'm not looking for things that have very little volume, but I'm looking for things that would be a revelation, like the home catering or small catering. Those little searches out there that I may have never built a small little ad group for. Maybe I just have one little ad group or just throw that keyword into a general list of keywords, for my general ad group. And I have the word small and home catering in a modified broad keyword. I at least have these covered and I can test to see how much volume there is. This is what I'm excited about. This is what we talked about for a long time. What we used to have in the old UI, the old AdWords interfaces, is this tool. And I'm so glad to have it back because now I have one place to go. I know it's an important thing for you because you've derived your own keyword research project. I feel horrible because we just did the Big Daddy JR build and we talked about keyword research and we went with the old method, which is now, the old method of using the related topics on google.com searches and all the methods that we talked about. That's now no longer the most efficient way. It's this keyword tool our keyword planner that I think is much superior.
That's debatable. I'm like a jilted lover, Chris. I'm like a spouse who was dependent on the other spouse for income and money and all that. Then they cheated on me, so I left them and I had to figure out how to survive on my own, and I started a thriving business, and now they want to get back together, and I'm like, all right, we can get back together, but it's on my terms. I got a thriving business here. So my own keyword research strategy with the Google searches, the related to, Chris, to be honest, I'm still going to do that heavily. But you are right. This is now very, very close to that. It's kind of very intuitive. So I'm just going to take a step back, Chris, and walk people through exactly what to do here and show them some of the new features. So you go to the keyword planner under tools. under planning, then keyword planner. And when you get there, if you haven't been there in a while, you're going to see the new announcements pop up. And you'll see there some things like there's more seed. You can add now 10 words, 10 keywords that you want to use to help the system find you keyword ideas. And then the big one is grouped ideas. So we'll get to that. So what we're going to right now is the find new keywords box on the left side. You go in there, and let me show you the power of this tool now, Chris. I'm just going to type in, not 10 seed keywords, 1, okay? So I'm just going to type in movers, Oklahoma City. That's all I'm typing in. And I'm going to hit get started, and then I'm going to change my location up at the top to the Oklahoma City DMA. And I'm just going to show everyone the power of this, Chris. So I hit save on the location. You're right. On the keyword ideas page, the first page it takes you to, Chris, I'm seeing what we used to see. I see moving companies, OKC, great keyword. But right below that, furniture movers, then cheap movers, then a competitor name, then hot tub movers. And like, it's none of that's together. So what do you want me to do here? But here's the magic of the new system. On the left side, under keyword ideas, you'll see grouped ideas. You click on that button, and now you have your groups with drop-down options to open them up. And Chris, these grouped ideas look like ad groups in my moving campaigns. They've got an ad group for cheap. People search for cheap moving companies, cheap movers, OKC.
Yep.
They've got an Oklahoma City ad group, all the different ways people search for Oklahoma City. Chris, this is huge. Edmond is like the major suburb of Oklahoma City. In my seed, all I put was movers, Oklahoma City, but it would be great if you serve Oklahoma City, you definitely serve Edmond as a moving company. And their grouped idea was Edmond, Oklahoma. And it says movers, Edmond, Oklahoma, moving companies, Edmond, Oklahoma, affordable movers in Edmond. And I didn't even have to put in Edmond. Moving services. They have a long distance one. They have commercial ones. And Chris, you can use this for your ad group ideas to come up with ideas. You can also use it for negative keywords because they're telling you, hey, if you throw in some of these keywords and you do phrase or pure broad, we're going to show you on some different searches like these competitor names, trucks, searches for trucks, storage searches. And so if you don't do those, it can cue you in. Add storage, add truck is negatives. So the grouped ideas, Chris, that's super powerful for me. That was the big change that I saw. And then just a couple other things I noticed on grouped and keyword ideas. There's a top of page bid low range column and a top of page bid high range column. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, what does it take to show up near the bottom of the top of the page? Like the maybe position 3 or 4 at the top. What does it take to show up in position 1 or 2 at the top? That's the high range. And Chris, those bids, I look for lawyers and movers, those are much more accurate than they used to be, like really accurate. And that was really impressive. Search volume trends is impressive. And at the top, they have a great thing now that shows you the total monthly searches for a keyword and then the total monthly mobile searches for a keyword. So you can kind of get a sense for different industries and different keywords, like what percent is a mobile market and what percent is not on mobile yet. So some things are like 70, 80% mobile, and that can guide your campaign strategy. So I was very impressed by that. And as far as the keyword research aspect of it goes, Chris, throwing in different ideas, getting your location right. And my big takeaways there were that the bids can really help guide you on where to get started with your bids. Those 2 columns, I really like the mobile breakdown. And then the biggest thing for me, Chris, was that grouped ideas to find ad group ideas and negative ideas. The grouped ideas was the game changer. And that's the big red button topic broken down by topic that we were asking for.
Yeah. So to drive it home here, the idea is to use the topics. Don't immediately start expanding all the topics and looking at each of the individual keywords in the topics.
The groups.
Yeah, the groups. Sorry, the groups is what they call it. So expanding all those keywords in each of the groups. The idea is to look at the group names and consider, what does this mean for your keyword targeting? Is this a new potential vertical? Because you're only seeing keywords that have volume. If you have an idea that you want to reach people that are searching for caterers for a puppy party, and you don't see those words, you're not seeing any volume for that, that's a good indicator that this vertical for you is probably not going to work. So it's ways to understand what is being searched, what isn't being searched. Like Jason said, negative keywords are important here. If you want to block out certain things, keep note of that. So that takes us to our next point of what is so much more slick than it used to be with the keyword planner, is the ability to build ad groups. There's a keyword planner. I'm not sure. I don't have it. Let me see what it's called.
Plan overview.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the plan overview.
On the left side.
Yeah, is it basically, here's the value of where you can go from here. So you've done your keyword research. And before, what we talked about was we talked about, a lot of the stuff that I did was, okay, go out there, find the keywords that you want, write them on a piece of paper or put them on a spreadsheet or a Word doc or something like that. And then you start building them out manually. If so inclined, you can use this grouped ideas feature to add keywords to a plan. So check several of the groups. I'm looking at the catering one. I'm checking cheap catering, Italian catering, and lunch catering. I'm checking each one of those groups that has several keywords in each one of them. I'm then gonna go and change the match type to phrase match. Up at the top middle of the page, there's an option to choose phrase match, and I can hit add keywords, and it creates 3 new ad groups. In each of those ad groups, the keywords for those groups will be in new ad groups. You can add the keywords. It'll pop up a little thing saying adding keywords. And then magically, you go to your plan overview up at the top left, and you can see what I think is really unique about this whole system is an overview of how many clicks, how many impressions, what your click-through rate is likely to be, what your average cost per click is going to be, your average position, and you can adjust your max CPC. I mean, this is a real tool to get real estimates on what you can expect. This is the kind of thing that a lot of paid tools can provide, but now you're getting data directly from Google in nice, colorful graphs and charts, and I think it's great for practical campaign building reasons, and also just to make intelligent decisions about, hey, if I wanted to do a dog catering campaign, how many expected clicks can I get? Oh, 0? Okay, maybe I need to rethink this strategy on the keywords that I'm going after.
Yeah, and Chris, when you select keywords, whether you're in the keyword ideas or the grouped, at that top blue bar, you got 3 options. You can add to plan or add to an existing campaign live in your account. And then you select an existing ad group, or you create new ad groups, and then you can add as phrase, exact, or broad match Google. One way we can improve this is instead of broad, phrase, or exact, it would be nice if that was checkboxes and you could check multiple versions of the match types. You could do, I want phrase match and exact match. And then also broad match modified, all words, that would be nice as well. But like you do phrase match, Chris, you hit add keywords, and then yes, you go to your plan. And Chris, the old interface had something like this, but I can just tell you, this seems a lot more accurate in terms of the cost per click they're giving you, the average position. And yes, you can play it. It's not going to be exact. But Chris, when we get that question from clients, like, hey, I need a proposal, like I need to know what you think I'm going to get before I actually start spending. Back in the day, it was almost impossible, in my opinion, to come up with that. I'm seeing more realistic numbers in here, Chris, now in terms of cost per click and click-through rate and all that. So I'm kind of confident that you can come up in here if you're trying to sell AdWords, create a nice little plan. You don't have to do it too extensive. And then you'll actually get some meaty data that can actually represent something that can happen in reality when you start running. One more tip for people, Chris. I'm thinking how I'm going to start using this. I might have like the grouped ideas going in one tab on a browser. On another tab, I might pull up the keyword planner again and keep that keyword ideas, the first screen open. And when I see a word like Edmund movers, they're going to give me a few ideas for Edmund mover, or I'll use a more general one. The word cheap movers, if I want to target that, they're giving me 5 suggested keywords in the group of cheap. And what I'm thinking is I would have a tab open right next to this with the keyword ideas still pulled up, the main screen. And when I see that I like the word cheap as an ad group, I would then go into the original search, the keyword ideas area, type in cheap movers Oklahoma City, cheap movers near me, search on that, get that long list of keywords, but then I would turn on a filter, Chris, and I would turn on a filter that said the keyword text has to include the word cheap. And then I'm thinking that might be a way to find more than just 5 cheap mover keywords.
Yeah.
So that's how I think I'm going to use the grouped ideas to help me come up with
Themes,
ad group ideas,
topics.
And then I'm going to go do my like Google search, come up with as many, like all those different searches we talked about in a few episodes ago. I'm going to use grouped ideas to help me come up with ad group ideas. And then I'm going to fill those in with the keyword ideas, big searches and filtering for that. And then Google searches and trying to find stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, guys, this is, we're talking about it today because to us, it's breaking news. It's something brand new. This is finally going to change the process of how we come up with new keywords. I mean, it's a much more streamlined, efficient tool, because that's what everyone was asking for a while. Once the new UI changed, was how do you do your keyword research? And we kind of, I was thinking for a while, I was trying out some paid services. Should I use some Chrome extensions?
Honestly, you were sad, dude.
Yeah,
you were like
a
wreck. Like you were like a lost puppy. You didn't know where to go. Like you would just message me sometimes like, "Hey, have you tried this tool?" And I'm like, "Chris, I thought you didn't do those paid tools." And you're like, "Yeah, but I really need to figure something out because I'm really frustrated and they're just not giving me that big red
Is that the
button
voice?
anymore."
Is that my voice in your head?
Is that my voice in your head?
Yeah.
No. Your voice in my head goes, "Yeah, is that what I sound like?"
Oh gosh, it's falling apart. We've reached the 30-minute mark,
We've
and
reached
it's falling.
the
30-minute
mark.
That's
Oh God,
I quit. Okay, that's it.
Oh, everyone.
Good show.
Oh, he finally did it. We got him to quit. The Rothman PPC Paid Search Podcast Solo Edition. What you all have been waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, you know what? I'm glad to see you're going to bounce back from your lost ways here.
Yes.
You actually have a tool you can use now. I think it's a good thing. Again, I was doing my multi-million-dollar transaction. You interrupted me. Next time, talk to my people. They'll set you up with the consultation call. And then I can fit you in my schedule.
What do you do all day? If you don't answer your phone, what do you do? What do you do all day?
You didn't call me. I do answer my phone. You Skyped messaged me, which is like weird. And then I was doing a multi-million. Honestly, you want to know what I was doing?
No, I don't. No, don't share it, because then we'll just have to cut it, because you'll regret that you said it. I know you. You'll be like, I shouldn't have shared that. Rachel, cut that out.
I don't cut anything. I don't cut anything.
Yes, you do.
I don't cut anything except the amount of time that you
We
talk
have to
on
cut
the show.
your cursing.
So Chris,
I have to do my own beeps for you. He's getting frustrated. I keep interrupting him. Please continue.
Please continue. My name's Chris Schaefer. I started a barbecue restaurant, and it went out of business in 6 months.
The heck?
Huh?
No, I didn't.
I know, I'm just kidding. I was thinking of how I used to like always tell people like all these business ventures that you had done. And this week I saw a guy like starting a barbecue restaurant. And I was like, you know what? That seems like something Chris would do.
No,
he would start a barbecue restaurant.
No, I wouldn't.
No,
that sounds too hard.
No, because I got the keyword planner back. So,
Yeah.
Chris, is there anything else you want to tell the people about this keyword planner besides just listen to this episode? We kind of broke down how we're going to use it. The one thing I would say, Chris, is check out that filter button. There's a lot of of cool things in there that you can do, and I think there's more to this keyword planner than we have talked about, because the more I get in here, the more I can see things like the search network. You can filter. Do you want data on Google only or Google and search partners? Do you want English data? Do you want Spanish, Bengali, Catalan? There's a lot you can do here. One thing I would say, Chris, to ask you a question and then answer it for the fifth time in a row.
I'm wondering when I can talk, but go ahead. Quit it. That is not a professional. You don't mock people.
Brother, stop it.
It hurts people's feelings.
Right now.
I'm going to cry.
Stop it right now. I'm going to cry for the second time today. Stop it right now, please.
Dehydrated.
I've got miniature toys on my library shelf behind me.
Oh, now those are not toys. Those are tractors, and they are real. They're just
I
miniature.
get to ride in the tractor too. I really ride in them at night. All right, Chris, one thing I would say is, and I think this needs to be pointed out, the locations section at the top where you select your location, a guy or a gal can forget where that's at, Chris. It's
Yes.
very easy to get in here and then not realize that you had set your location. So it's up at the top. It's kind of doesn't catch the eye, and I'm thinking maybe that should be pointed out a little bit more to the people, because I've been in here multiple times where I'm getting data and I'm like, oh, I'm still targeting the United States, not a city I want to target. So that'd be my final words. Chris, yours?
Well, just in case you guys are like completely lost, thanks for letting me talk, by the way. If you can't find it in your AdWords campaign or account, go to Tools. It's a drop down at the very top of the page, and look on the far left of that little drop down. Well, actually, I've seen a new format of that, so I'm going to change that. It's under Planning. Look for Planning. It's on that list, and keyword planner. That's what you're looking for. So there might be some people who are going to like message us and be like, okay, listen to the whole show. I can't even find the tool. So there you go. That's where it is, just in case we weren't
Look
clear.
in the mirror.
Yeah. What? No.
How about that? Finding the tool.
I'm always nice to people that ask questions. At
No,
paid,
you're not, dude.
at
We were
Paid
talking
Search
before
Pod,
the show.
At Paid Search Pod. Just
I'm not going to sit here and just listen to that fluff.
yeah,
Like,
I am.
We were.
I'm always nice. Always nice. I never delete emails people send. Never.
All right, Chris. Well, why don't you take us out here, and then we will get into the PST, the trivia section.
Yes, stick around because Jason's going to ask me a question, and if I get it right, he owes me $100. All right. So again, I've got to say, Opteo, they are the secret tool behind PPC management. If you want to get alerts in your inbox to say, hey, your client or your campaign or your business is potentially missing out on search volume. You're underspending based on your daily budget. You get cool graphics right in your email before you even have your morning coffee. You can find out, how's my campaign doing? You can get these kind of alerts. Super helpful. Go to opteo.com. That's opteo.com/PSP. opteo.com/PSP. Chat with the friendly people at Opteo. Tell them you're from the Paid Search Podcast. You are a friend of Chris and Jason. Make sure you say Chris first, then Jason. And that's the secret code to get the 6-week extended free trial. So here we go with isn't there a music? Like, I can't remember what I did.
Hey, everybody. It's time for the Paid Search trivia section of the Paid Search Podcast.
Wow.
How's that, Chris?
That's way better, I'm sure. Yeah.
So, Chris, okay, so I got a question for you. Paid Search trivia time. This is a time where we try to stump the chump.
Stump the chump.
We try to stump the other person.
First person to tell me where that comes from gets a free follow on Twitter. There you go.
I don't even know where it comes from. It was just in my brain.
I'm unfollowing you.
So, Chris, this is where we try to stump the other person and teach and learn about Google Ads in the process. We like to wrap up our shows here with this. And today I have a true or false for you, Chris. That's what I hear in my head. You were asking me what you sound like.
Yes.
I hear a lot of snark in the laughs, like a lot of like
Please,
someone says something that's
get to
not
the
funny,
question.
and then you're like,
It's
Please.
frustration. Like,
Chris, this is supposed to be the best time of your week, dude. Like, relax. This isn't like stressful business. This is a podcast between a couple friends. Why are you so stressed out? I hate that I'm
wanna
doing
get
this
this
to you,
question.
Chris. I don't want to be doing this.
I want to get
you.
this
Like,
question. I'm nervous, so I'm ready.
Okay. Are you focused?
Yeah, I'm focused. I'm looking down. That means I'm focused.
All right. When running traditional expanded text ads and call-only ads inside the same ad groups in a campaign, you do have an ability to make your call-only ads show up more often. So if you're running a campaign and you have call-only ads and expanded text ads in the same ad group, there is a way to try and get your call-only ads to show up more often than they are and get more impressions. true
True or false?
or false.
All right. Well, I don't typically like true or false questions because they're usually tricky because there's one word, that will be swapped around. But I feel like I listened closely. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. And the answer to your question is true. There is a way to make sure that your call-only ads show up more often.
Oh, bro, Chris, I am happy to inform you that today you are not leaving as a loser because you are correct, Chris. The answer is true. So,
Yay.
Chris,
Yay.
there is something in the new interface on search campaigns. It's on display too, but there's not anything in there yet, I don't think. But if you're in a search campaign and you go to that middle light gray column, advanced bid adjustments. And inside of that advanced bid adjustments, there is an option that says interaction type calls. And then you can increase, and then I'm assuming decrease, how often you get calls or how often you're showing call options on your search ads. Now, one thing to note, this is only at the campaign level. I checked. It does not appear it's at the ad group level, and I think it should be because some ad groups might be better for calls, but it's at the campaign level. And let me read to you the description of the call bid adjustment. This is from Google's help. You can increase your bid for mobile devices to show call interaction ads more frequently for mobile users. Interaction bid adjustments influence how often you show call extensions and call-only ads to users. The flexibility of adjusting your bids for certain interactions gives you more control over how often they appear with your ad and how potential customers connect to your business. So let me tell you, Chris, why I asked the question I did. I knew that the advanced bid adjustment for calls, increasing it, increased the likelihood that the call extension would show up with your mobile ads. One thing I learned by reading the help, that this is only for mobile ads, if we read it correctly. It does not increase the call extension to show up on desktop ads, which it actually does show up sometimes. Maybe it does, but according to this help, this is for mobile devices to show call interaction ads more frequently. That includes the call extension, which I knew it included, but it also says how often you show call extensions and call-only ads. So the way I'm taking that, Chris, is if you have an ad group with traditional text ads and call-only ads, because you're trying out both, and your call-only ads are not getting enough impressions, which sometimes it feels like they won't get enough love if you have expanded text ads in there also, you can increase your call interaction bid adjustment, and they're saying it'll make it more likely that your call-only ads will show up more often compared to the way they currently do, and you'll get more impressions on those call-only ads. If you only have call-only ads in the ad group, that's all that's going to show. But if you're running them along with expanded ads, this will make it more likely that the call ads show up. Yeah. How do you like that, Chris?
I think that, something today? Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm aware of the advanced bid adjustment feature.
Oh, you haven't dove in there yet.
But I had not considered the application in that way. So that's great. I like that.
Do you use that yet for clients? Like when a client says, "Hey, I want more calls."
Yes.
Do you ever bid that up?
But not specifically because I use call only, because I don't use call only ads very often. It's not
because I had never associated call only with this.
I never considered it.
I read the help.
I used it for clients that got like 90% of their leads from the call extension. So I would use it to boost anybody who had the potential of seeing a call extension, because that's more valuable, which essentially brings down the tablet and potentially any desktops that aren't going to show it. So it's going to bring up mobile and people that are potentially going to see that phone number as the call extension. But I had not considered it as a call only feature. So that's great. That saves us the trouble of having a whole new campaign,
increasing your bids,
just for call only ads, which is something I usually do if I do call only. So that's great.
Yeah, Chris, that's not necessary anymore. Call only, there's no difference between a call only campaign and a regular campaign anymore. The only difference is the ad type.
Right.
And if you have a great campaign that you like with setup and keywords and bids, and you want to try call only ads, all you have to do, if you want only call only ads, pause your expanded ads, throw in call only ads, and then you have a call only campaign. So that's one cool thing about the new interface. So
yeah. Excellent question. I definitely got the question right because I am very smart. But I also did not, I would have gotten the question wrong if you would have asked it in a way that was like, how do you get your call only ads to show more often? I would have not mentioned that feature. It's definitely a tactic I don't put in my toolbox very often. So thank you, Jason. Very, very good application there. So that's it, guys. You have listened to the whole show. You're now listening to two guys that are tired, have delivered an amazing amount of content.
Get tired, baby.
Oh, he's bouncing hard. He's going crazy. This is when we don't know when to end and we just keep talking.
I think it's right now.